Hello there, English speakers, and here we see all the graves at Eustall's Church Cemetery, where everyone has turned their backs on us. So that's a little bit rude, but I guess they are facing the church, so that's okay, because it's Sunday. Today I will enlighten your blind spots about some spirituality that you might not have done, and some other blind spots. For example, that dead spruce is not a dead spruce. Those are spruces, and this is a larch. But let's start by taking a big, large breath. We can also grab a big breast. That would be nice. But yeah, let's start. We'll see if we can find some oak. We'll talk about that. First, let's talk about BitChute. That took 12 hours to process the videos I uploaded yesterday. So that's not good. Usually it's done in minutes, but something went wrong there. And I don't think I have trimmed the YouTube videos. On YouTube, I can remove the first 48 seconds that comes due to the live broadcast. On Facebook, however, if you want to see me live, so-called live, pseudo-live, on Facebook, you should follow my page. So I can live broadcast to the page, which is good, because then I can download the video from there and upload a much smaller video to other platforms. But I will also post on my profile on Facebook. So you really need to do something, but you hate to do that. How should you make yourself do it? So Scott Adams read up from his book, Reframe Your Brain, something that might surprisingly work. It is to say to yourself, and affirm it and repeat it maybe, the life is short. Why would you do something that you really don't want to do? Well, because you have to do it, and the life is short, so you better do that horrible thing that you don't want to do as soon as possible. So try it out when you really don't want to do something. Just say that life is short, and then you bite your teeth together and fix it. I hope that helps some people. AI, you want all the wisdom from all the people who are here, and you want to have AI to access their wisdom and everything they have taught you. You want it easily accessible, so you can search in the things that they learned in a different time, and then you can see, maybe use AI to give new ideas. How can this ancient wisdom be used in our modern times or in our future times? So that's great. But what happens if you use AI to make AI zombies that are like emotional zombies for you? Well, that is unholy, as Brett Weinstein, whom I really like, says. So, my dear ancestors, or ancestors and aunt and uncle is here in my family grave. So, take care, relatives. You do not want that, and Brian Romele agrees with Brett Weinstein. That is not religious, but he is religious enough to realize that making an undead kind of version of your missed ones, that will mess you up badly, and that's unwise, to say the least. So the wisdom, you want to preserve it, but you do not want to live in the past. You do not want to live in the future either. If you live in the future, you think about this wonderful future, and you have nowhere to get there. You are not, well, you are thinking about being on the other side of the river and you have no bridge, no boat, no nothing. So maybe learn to swim instead right now. If you don't want to learn that, remember that life is short. So you can relate to Tolkien. Tolkien never did an exact mirror of reality. So when he wrote about history in Middle-earth, it was not exactly the same. You had 3 Jesus, as I talked about before, 3 different characters that took one part of Jesus, and all the parts are not the same. Gondor is not the Roman Empire, but it's sort of is. So the great thing about this is that if you mirror it exactly, then you trick people into thinking, oh, this I've learned about this pseudo Roman Empire. That should be exactly the same as it will work now, because the pseudo-Roman Empire worked exactly like the Roman Empire. So then my reality nowadays will work as it did in history, which it will never do, because history rhymes, it never repeats. So you can learn wisdoms, but you must not learn them exactly. So that's why he thought he really hated to have exactly the same thing. I actually thought about that too much, it seems, or a lot. So I had a dream about my own life, where I live in Linköping, Ljusdal, both cities, and I were part in Linköping, part in here. It was something that reminded me about both cities. I met stuff that had happened in my life, but not the same characters, and differently in many kinds of ways, but still the same story, and similar groups of people, but not the same people. Very interesting and very Tolkienish. So how did Tolkien describe Gondor? The not Roman Empire, that's not the same, but he described it as that they had forsaken their wisdoms, their old wisdoms. They were forsaken, but they built tombs that were more splendid than the houses that living people were living in, and they counted all the names of their descent much dearer than the names of their own sons. So they were just doing like Brett Weinstein warned about. They were living with not AI, but similar to that, AI zombies. Oh, here is some jackdaw is searching for something dead, I assume, or something living that it can kill and eat. Good luck with that. I have no idea what he can find to eat here, or she. So think about that. Live in the now, prepare for the future, learn from the past, don't live there. So here you have a little bit of wall. It's not 10 meters high and it's not 3 meters thick, but that's the walls of the Vatican. So if you are someone with a very bad argument, you know that I love to destroy arguments, and this is no exception. So someone is saying, all Catholics that are saying that you should have mass immigration, they should be quiet, because look at these walls. It's written Elon, so then it must sell some Musk here. No. They are selling, I don't know. Oh yeah, they are selling things to the kitchen and for laundry, which makes sense on Mars, I guess. El is, of course, electricity in Swedish. And the name. Where were I? Yeah, so you have a wall. So if you are Catholic and the Vatican has a wall, you can't be against immigration. First of all, it's a stupid argument, because 100% of the citizens in the Vatican are immigrants. So if you say that it's hypocritical that the most immigrant country in the world is pro-immigration, then you're dumb. And I point out on Getter, where they have a lot of people who are not exposed to the 𝕏-undeleteds ones, like me. I'll come to that in the end. I point out that Toledo in 711, they had huge walls, impressive walls, that never got defeated, because they had the enemy inside the walls in Toledo 711, just like in the Vatican and in the White House. So I hope someone on Getter learned that. So let's talk about more old history from Hesse, but this is not a story about Germans, quite the opposite. Saint Boniface, so he's not Boneface. Boneface is, maybe he died, I don't know, the tattooed guy that said he was fighting in Ukraine and was saying that he was a national socialist with a totally tattooed face. He sounded smart sometimes, but deranged sometimes too. But this is Boniface, a saint, a missionary, and he was searching for an oak, just like me. He was saying he was chopping down an oak in 823, or the year after. So 823, he went to the Donar's oak, or Thor's oak, or Jupiter's oak. Let's go away from there. And he chopped it down and he built a church of all this oak wood. That's bad. Don't chop down holy old oaks. I think that's evil. If you look at the sources though, they are Christian sources, and they are basically trying to impress each other with how much things they can make up about this story, how much holy miracles were happening all the time while they were, well, doing this, chopping down, and heavenly, yeah, there was stuff coming from the sky, etc. Well, so we can't trust that. But if you celebrate destruction, even if it happened or not, that's evil. So you can't judge propaganda on if this propaganda is good. If the propaganda is good, it could be made from really evil people that are just pretending to spread this word of being nice to each other and build stuff instead of focusing on destruction. But if the propaganda is focusing on destruction, then, you know, these are not good people. So, okay, he built a church, and to destroy something, to build something. But why not build a church without cutting down this old oak? That is evil. And you can smell the propaganda here that came from the usual source. This family, the Carolinian family, Carolingian, not Carolinian, that's Swedish, but with the G, Carolingian family, that was Charlemagne and his family. And they had close contacts with Jewish traders. That's how they built their power, basically. So they had a power base. These Jewish traders, they traded with the Arab world, and they traded with Khazaria, and of course the Frankish Empire, or the Carolingian Empire. So it sounds like Jewish propaganda, celebrating the destruction of an oak. I'm against it. So sorry if you are some sort of German that still celebrated this destruction in Hesse that may or may not have had happened. So not all Jews. I say that sometimes because, well, it's true. Not Brett Weinstein. I'm pretty convinced of that, for example. But Lauren Witzke, Nush, in there, Witzke, if you should say, sagen it auf Deutsch. Lauren Witzke, she was the producer of Died Suddenly. You can have critique about that movie. I will not do that because I haven't spent time on that. So better not say anything about it. But I heard critique about it. But she seems like an honest lady, and she had a Jewish friend that she saw was a little bit psychopathic, sort of. There were some warning signs, but she didn't want to say anything because that would have been antiseptic, she thought. Then a lot of hidden cameras showed up at her office, and then her former best friend took an advance of $60,000, and then the so-called friend stole her employees and then spread lies about that she, Lauren Witzke, was accused of stealing money from the US that had hidden cameras, etc. And of course, I don't know if Lauren Witzke is the one who is lying. But you see the pattern here. Then powerful Jewish friend to this US was suing them for a lot of bullshit and lies just to crush her in all sorts of ways. So that's just one story, but you can see some patterns. And someone asked, well, do you think that your friend is a representative of all Jews? No, not all Jews. Of course, not every single one of them. But this Jew continues and says, when asks, do you think that I'm like that? And she answers, probably, which probably might be the right answer. The problem here is that Goyim, everyone who isn't a Jew, is pretty bad at organize themselves around each other and see that this is a well-organized mafia that help each other even when they do evil stuff. It's great if you have a tribe and you help each other, but if one of you make something bad that is immoral and against your own rules, that you should be public with. If you say that it's okay to lie and steal and cheat, well, tell us. Otherwise we will find out and we will be pissed. But we are not that good at it. Well, most of the Goyim aren't. So sometimes it succeeds. For example, in Germany, they noticed it and then they solved the problem. The problem there is that other countries are still not noticing, and they are ruled via the usual methods of threats, genocides, blackmail, and child trafficking operation, etc. Drugs. So they will use the other countries to harm the country that has just ended their mafia activities in it. I think I should go over here to get home. Now, should we? Yeah, we should go this way. So if you have a global enemy, you really have to fight globally. if you are the Spanish Empire, of course in 1492 you could kick out the Jews and no one could attack Spain because they were too powerful or their enemies were too far away and not as well oiled machinery as the Reconquista Spanish government was. But if you are England, for example, under Edward I, and you kick out all the Jews, he didn't kick out all the Jews actually. Many of them were slaughtered because they were clipping coins and doing all sorts of crimes, sometimes on behalf of Edward I. But still, he got tired of them. And then the Black Death came, maybe because of bad wells. And you know what happened when the Tsar kicked out the Jews. They came back as Bolsheviks with banker money and genocided not only the Tsar and his family and, well, a lot more, to say the least. So global fight is needed. You can't let the mafia hide because it will come back and bite you. And remember that they are not fighting a usual war. They fight all kinds of war. Propaganda, they use vaccines, drugs, child trafficking, and you have to have countermeasures in all sorts of areas. Otherwise, you will have your strong walls and your strong army, and then you are dissolved from within because of treacherous behavior of maybe someone who is not even a Jew. So remember, remove all the bad, unholy big lies and invent and build. Eva Vlaar, the philosopher and political commentator from the Netherlands, many years ago, she became a Catholic, and she is no longer, as I said already yesterday, she's no longer shadow banned on X because, you know, Elon Musk, and he has fixed it, even though it was only in European Union, and you can blame European Union, or you can be some Zionist shit. Can you imagine? A Zionist is pretending to be the victim. This Zionist is saying, yeah, I also was shadow banned once. Oh, poor me. I was saying good things about Tommy Robinson, and then I said bad things about Hamas. Maybe he was calling for the mass genocide of children and calling them Hamas. I don't know. You can imagine. Yeah, so he is the victim. Well, I can't even say that because I'm deleted from X because of people or things like him. But yeah, they always play the victim. I don't even think he's a Jew. But Ricardo Ice as in those two, is his name. He's complaining that we small accounts that are paying for X, we don't get any protection like Eva Vlaar get. And she really should be protected. Even if I would hate her, I would think that she shouldn't be messed with in this way that is just not honest. But yeah, they don't have that. And as I talked about, the same thing on Facebook. We had a party leader here in Sweden that got deleted from Facebook. He is back now, but only because he knew a boss on Facebook, which of course is harder for me because I don't know anyone on Ireland, and definitely I don't know anyone of the censorship in Israel. I do know people in Israel. Don't tell anyone because they might get in trouble. And finally, Louis von Schirach, Louis von Schirach, or Schirach, I don't know. It looks German in the spelling. So he says that he warns Eva that she will have free speech as long as she doesn't criticize Israel. Yeah, people start to notice that. Trump is going... yes. He says that he no longer endorsed Mayor Taylor Greene, MTG, and Trump is mocking Thomas Massie for remarrying after his wife suddenly died or suddenly got murdered. That's bad, I think. And of course, these are the two representatives in the House that have been spoken out for releasing Epstein's files and are against Israel's behavior and occupation of USA. So MAGA is pretty dead, and people are saying America first, and this MAGA has turned into MAGA, and people are making memes and signs in that direction. So far, USA has gotten these M1B visas, millions of Indians, and then 600,000 Chinese students, and the mocking of the ones who are really America first, and anti-Semitic laws, all these laws against saying anything. So I went to Getter. You get some anti-vax information and those sort of things, but otherwise it's mostly Republican politics. But I think for me it's fun. I can enlighten all these Zionist Republicans. So that's the only thing I find it really useful on Getter. So someone asked a question. Erik Swovel, he was giving a kiss to Fang Fang. She changed her name later on, and she was alleged to be a Chinese spy. And Erik Swovel, he's lying about everything, usually, and he's as charming as the former Prime Minister of Sweden. Well, any one of them. But I was thinking about Stefan Löfven. They are not charming, any one of them. So why not? Why is he not arrested? Maybe because Kash Patel is suing everyone who is even suggesting that it should be something wrong with dating an asset of an enemy country, like, for example, himself. Axis, what's her name? Kash Patel's girlfriend, the head of FBI, his girlfriend worked for a spy, the CEO of PragerU, and she is an Israeli spy, or was, as it's called. She is. And that's okay, and you sue everyone who is saying that she is that. So, of course, he can't arrest Erik Swovel for being used by enemy assets. And why is Israel an enemy? I explained that to Netanyahu, especially him personally. He has been causing every war for USA. He has been involved, at least, in causing every war for the last 25 years for USA, and he's personally responsible for the entire national debt of USA. So finally, here we have an oak. It's not Thor's oak or the Donar's oak, not even Jupiter's oak, but it's an oak, and they don't grow here, as I've said a few times. And here you have actually a mountain pine. They are not growing here in Sweden, except here, that particular one. So let's leave Swovel and Netanyahu. Kim Jong-Trump. Yep, they have made a song about that, and it's really catchy, and it's really weird. Trump is doing a lot of things. Maybe he's a nationalist communist. You don't see any clear direction of the mocking, which made it interesting. And if you read the comments, you can see links to how to fight or rebuild central banking, etc. So I got that AI-generated music video, very catchy, as I said, with some North Korean kind of musical vibes in it. Not pro or against Trump, but interesting, I would say, and catchy. That was one of the comments to Jack Pasovich. And people on X, not so much on Getter, but on X, people are pointing out that he is probably sold out. And he says that he worships Jesus and stuff, and he doesn't behave like that when it comes to actual actions. And then he lies on behalf of FBI, etc. So a lot of these 𝕏-undeleteds, so these are undeleted users. They are not yet deleted, except me. So I made an info meme about that, where you can see these people, and I've selected people who are not anonymous, and they are really, with their posts that are factual and good, they are destroying the dichotomy, the false dichotomy between, so select between communism and Zionism. You do not have to select between them. Remember, remove them all, both sides, and invent and build. So the people I've put forward here, it's not the best, but the most interesting, I think, and you will get the other anti-dichotomy accounts when you follow this. First of all, based Sam Parker. Sam Parker is the one who spotted this problem with the dichotomy that is tricking people. And then it's Mel Vilge without A, Village without A, Vilge Crazy Lady. She's not shadow banned anymore. And then David Miller, tracking _power. He is not of the same opinions as others, but that's why he's also interesting. He has a lot of Jewish connections also, and is an anti-Zionist. So I included him. He's interesting. And then Ken O'Keefe, the one who is starting to talk in the beginning of Europa, the Last Battle, the 11-hour documentary of the Second World War seen from the other side. That I have a link to on all my Substacks. And then me, and then who was the last one? I don't know. Maybe I can... No, I don't remember the last one. You have the image on my site. But there are many others that are anonymous accounts. Gen X Girl, for example, and you have Uncommon Sense and General Patton's Ghost, etc. And I posted that image on other sites, of course, even on Instagram, where some of them actually are, like Sam Parker, but he's not posting much there. You have heard about some Gen Z that are fighting in Mexico, and you might have a blind spot because media is not reporting everything. You can see stuff like, first of all, I don't think it's a good idea to doing riots and doing destruction of property. But on a wall, it's written Puta Judia. So puta, that's Spanish for bitch, and Judea is Jewish. So they might not like their mafia Jew boss. But with that, enough for today. Remember, life is short if you have something bad to do, and if you can't find your video on your favorite platform, it's probably on someone else. Now I will go home and upload this. Have a wonderful Sunday.